Hi everyone, good morning. How is it going over there? My name is Macy. I am a mom and also an autism professional consultant, educational consultant. Hi there. For the past 27 years, it's been a while. Today I want to chat and share about eye contact. It's a big subject when you have a child or family member diagnosed with autism spectrum disorders, and that's how they are measured by how much they look at other people. Eye contact. I personally do not like that word. What does that mean? When somebody say look at you, can you respond to that by looking at the person? It's just responding to the command look at me. That's it, right? But we know eye contact is so much more than that. So let's begin by thinking about why human beings use eye contact. We look at each other because we want to share our feelings. So there's thinking behind it. There's definitely emotions behind it. A few example would be to share our joy, to share. Sometimes we share our anger. You know, when you're angry at your husband, you look at each other in anger. So there's definitely feelings, emotions behind our use of eye gaze, right? You have heard about joint attention. That's how we actually initiate something with a partner using a point of reference. So you see little kids pointing at the airplane and then looking at their parents. So that's joint attention. Conversation is actually a very complex form of joint attention, right? But when little kids are younger, they do very simple point to an object, look at their parents to check on mom's understanding. Are you seeing what I'm saying? That's joint attention. And then social referencing is where when we are with somebody and we want to check at their level of understanding, that's when we actually look at our partner. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Okay, so, and also when maybe we're doing something and we're stuck and, you know, your partner is there, you will check in with your partner to see, you know, I need some help here. So we look at each other to get feedback, to share our experiences and our feelings. That's really a very, very complex process that we cannot teach our kids with autism by simply teaching them to respond to look at me. Okay, so if you have a home program and you're still doing that, please don't do that because it just has to develop naturally. Hi Elizabeth, how are you? So that's the reason why we use eye contact or why we look at each other. Now I want to talk about why we don't use eye contact when we are with somebody. Number one reason is anxiety. When we feel anxious, we actually look down, right? So if you get caught with your hand in a cookie jar and your mom walks by, so what do? Do you look at mom? No, you look away because you're hiding something, right? We don't use eye contact when we're feeling nervous, when we're feeling anxious. We want to get away from something. We want to hide something. Also, this is an important one, you guys. When we actually know what we're doing, we do not need to look at our partner because we know what we're doing, okay? Now, when you think about our kids with autism, from very, very early on, they're being taught to respond to look at me. And actually, they're being taught to stare at the partner. I used to do this, like look at me, and I would hold M&Ms or something and I would count to 10, and that is very, very unnatural, right? So those are the reasons that why we don't use eye gaze, and people with autism, they're being penalized for looking away. When we're thinking about something, you guys, we're being thoughtful, most of the time we actually look down. So keep that in mind. So don't punish your child because your child is not able to look at you. There is a reason behind it. And when I talk to adults with autism, they actually shared with me it's a choice between participating in the back and forth conversation or eye contact. So if you expect your child to look at you, then they lose track of the essence of that conversation, what's going on in the back and forth. So it's very, very hard for them to participate in a two-way conversation. It's already hard enough. And if we force them to look at me, you got to look at me, then it's very hard for them. So please keep that in mind. Okay. So third part is how to naturally develop our children's use of eye gaze. This is very important. Keep in mind, you want to have your child a reason to look at you. If they don't have any reason to share something with you, then there's no need for them to check in or to reference us, right? So if they're just doing the same things, they don't need you because they know what to do, right? So give your child a reason to look at you. How do we do that? Number one, so self-check. Are you being bossy? So think about how you communicate, how you talk to your child or students or family members. Are you bossy? Meaning, are you using a lot of instructions? Do this, do that. What do you want? Is this red or blue? All of the close-ended questions and instructions. That's not naturally nurturing that back and forth, isn't it? Because a natural conversation, it's not Q&A. Okay, so think about that. Are you being bossy? Are you relying too much on the verbal channel, right? So we just talk. And that's not really being inviting, not being attractive to our child. It means that we're not getting down to their level. We're talking to them, but we're not talking and engaging with them. Therefore, there's no need for them to look at us because they just wait until we tell them what to do, right? So if the adult tends to use only the verbal communication channel, then that's what the child will rely too much on, being instructed to do things, right? Therefore, they can completely bypass, looking at people, understanding emotions behind our interactions. So that's a very, very narrow understanding of communication if you only rely and use the verbal communication channel, right? So are you being bossy? Do you talk too much? I talk too much, especially after coffee. And lastly, are you being fun and engaging, right? So this is the hard one. We're all very busy. We're all very task-oriented. So most of the time, we don't take a moment to be fun and engaging. How do we do this? Okay, I'm going to give you some tips. The first one is to create contrast. What I mean is that do something different, unexpected, okay? So for example, if you have younger kids, you can pull out some hats from the closet, pull out the scarves, pull out your shoes, and just play dress up with them if you have young kids, right? Put on different kind of noses, those reindeer noses that lights up on your nose. Do face painting, anything like that where you can bring up the focus to face, okay? Do something unexpected. You could use silly sounds. You could do unexpected actions where you put a pair of socks on your hands instead of on your feet. It does take a moment to kind of develop the silliness. And I think if you want to practice this, do this on weekends where you're not rushing. That's really helpful. So you're getting your kids to really check in with you and helping them notice that, oh, something is different with mom, when she's helping me putting on shoes and socks today. So do something different, okay? Sometimes even like putting your shoes together alongside your child instead of telling them how to do it. That's different, right? So create contrast. And then secondly, getting them involved in daily activities. Why do we want to do this? Because of course in the future they have to do this as adults. Why not start now? Secondly, when we do daily activities, that's where we make the most decisions. This is where your child will actually not know how to do something, because as adults we are more experienced, so our child, we will realize very quickly that I need mom to help me, I need dad to help me to do this, right? That's when the social referencing will happen. So if your child's trying to put something together, maybe putting together, I don't know, your blender or something, and your child doesn't know why when he pushes the button, it doesn't turn on, then if you're standing right there as his guide, then that child will look at you, how come this is not turning on, right? That's social referencing. That's one function of social referencing, where if you don't know how to do something, you will just naturally check in with your guide, get some feedback, get some help, okay? So use daily activities more so. Your child will be more interested to do things with you. It doesn't have to be perfect, but that's how we actually develop different functions of using eye gaze for different purposes, okay? So in the coming weeks, I will be talking more about helping your child to co-participate in just more daily activities. So we'll talk more about it. There are different components to do it. Remember, children first monitor their parents doing stuff, and then they'll want to do it themselves, and in the future they'll know how to do it for themselves. So independence is very, very important, okay? So that's really it. That's all I have for eye contact. I prefer to use the word eye gaze, the use of eye gaze in as part of meaningful communication. Hi. Okay, so I'm looking at somebody's comment here. 12-year-old boy for the world that is waiting for them. Yes. Yeah. My son's 10, and you know, I still help have him come in and help me in the kitchen. And I notice though, when he's doing stuff that he's really, really good at, he doesn't look at me. But when he gets stuck on something, or he wants to make a comment, get my feedback, then he will look at me. I have a video of a little boy who's trying to put together my tripod, and I was just there to videotape him. You'll see he was very focused on task. And then towards the end of the clip, then he was looking at me. So don't punish your kid just because he doesn't use his eye gaze that often. That child has to just develop it more, and we need to give our child a reason to use the eye gaze to check in with us. Okay. Hi, Julia. Okay, guys, I'm crossing my fingers that this short video will be taped by Instagram so I can repost it. That's why I want to keep it short. So I will see you next week. Thanks for catching up with me, and it's good to be back. Take care. Bye. Bye.